was Stagg Jr. Now it's just Stagg. I still call it Stagg Jr.
Everyone calls it Stagg Jr.
It's just like MGP. They're now Ross and Squibb.
It's MGP.
I still call it MGP. I don't care. So this is going to be a lame video if anybody's been into whiskey more. It's just, I mean, I'm just going to say it. I mean, you could put it in the thumbnail, like, is Stagg Jr. good? No shit, Stagg Jr. is freaking awesome. Right? So I still call it Stagg Jr., the old bottles.
Say Stagg Jr. What is
Stagg Jr.?
Stagg Jr. is the diffusion of George T. Stagg, which is from Buffalo Trace's antique collection, otherwise known as BTAC, if you're just tuning in.
Right. So it's from Buffalo Trace. When it was made to be the little brother to George T. Stagg, which George T. Stagg, like you just said, is in the BTAC collection. Impossible to find. If you find it, if you're lucky to find it, I found it for $900 in the wild. Yeah, but you can find it on secondary.
What's the MSRP on it? Theoretically.
Less than $200.
Makes sense. If you can find it.
Back when I was looking at the George T. Staggs, Isha used to tell me back in Vegas, he's like, this was years ago, I think MSRP was like 130. I think it's now upwards of 200, 220, 230 for MSRP.
George T. Stagg, in the BTAC line, what is like its role? Like, what's its flavor profile? What is it trying to be?
I've never had it. It's basically, if you look at anything from the BTAC collection in Buffalo Trace.
The BTAC collection?
Yeah, Buffalo Trace Antique Collection.
BTAC.
BTAC. Know what I said?
No, we said, you and I both made the same mistake. You said collection after BTAC, and I said line after. It's redundant.
Yeah, it's fine. But that's supposed to be like the best that Buffalo Trace can make. Mm-hmm. So
I think from what I remember tasting Stagg Jr., it's more. It reminds me of regular old Buffalo Trace in that it's very cherry forward.
Yeah, so that's the thing that. God, smell that. Good Lord.
This is last year's release.
Yeah, this is 25C. And so I didn't want to do this and be like, is it good or not?
You wanted to talk about
here's the thing. Some people in the whiskey world, if they have access to, and that's what people have to understand when they watch these types of videos, right? I'm not going to name names, and it's not bad. It's just that when you've been doing this for 10 years, we've been doing it for maybe a year.
A year.
So when you've been doing this for 10 years and you've got,
connections up the wall,
tens of millions of viewers and Patreon subscribers and stuff, you get feelers all over the country, right? And so you get people emailing you all the time. Hey, we have this in Kentucky. Hey, we have this in Indiana. Hey, we have this in Utah. We have this up in Montana or wherever. Do you want one? And they, if they want the bottle, they're like, absolutely. And it's procured. And somehow it makes its way magically to whatever state somebody's in. Right? So a lot of whiskey reviewers, they have access to all the releases of them. Mm-hmm, right? Mm-hmm. So Stagg Jr., it used to come out, they used to have, I think, 3 batches a year, like an A, B, and C. The last couple years, they've had an A, B, C, and D, so they've come out with 4 batches. The old bottles never had the batch number on them, so you had to, if you wanted to look it up and see what it was, you'd have to do it by the proof. Mm. Where these newer ones, they actually have it on the front now. I wrote it on the back just so I could see. So you can tell if it's 25A, B, C, D, whatever, 26A. Some people over the last few years have said that Stagg Jr. has kind of fallen off.
Really?
Yeah, which kind of makes sense a little bit if with the glut that we had and the scarcity of bourbon and whatnot. But my point is, you get people out there that will hunt certain batches. Like I heard 25D was really, really good. I heard it was like the best of 2025. Am I going to go on secondary and find a 25D and pay $500 for it?
Oh.
No. When somebody offers it from the back, like, hey, CO, we just got some Stagg Jr. in finally. Would you like one? I'm like, absolutely. I don't care what the batch is. Tristan,
Actually, I would.
Tristan, go back with the manager and grab it, and then don't be a dick and show it to everybody. Keep it under your arm, and we'll just go pay for it.
The way I usually do it, and you can take this trick for yourself, is I turn the label in and then tuck it like a football whilst walking around the store, because we're not in this as a what measuring context.
Yeah.
It's just liquid at the end of the day.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? You drink it and you're just gonna whiz it out anyway.
It's true.
So, and then all you have are your remembrances of what you just drank. So, well, it's very good. This is 25C. I heard this was definitely better than the first two batches.
I had to buy when people say that Stagg fell off, like Stagg Jr. in particular, it should still be understood that it's
still phenomenal.
Excellent.
Yeah, and if you find this at retail, you're quite lucky, because to be honest, this is a $60 bottle. Mm-hmm. It just is.
It is. I mean, it's high proof, but there's no age statement.
No, there's no age statement. No, they use some older whiskey in it, but there's no age statement on it, like with the George T. Staggs and stuff.
In the clothing world, there's such a thing as diffusion lines. This is a diffusion line, as in it is a lesser quality offering, but it's meant to give you an idea of what George T. Stagg tastes like, because who's going to find George T. Stagg? Yeah,
and even if you see it at a bar, it could be upwards of $50 to $100 a pour.
But lower quality in this case means like going from what most would consider a 10 out of 10 to like a 8.5.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing.
8.5, depending on how you.
That's the thing with Stagg Jr. with Stagg. It's for all the stuff that they make. I think bottle for bottle, it's probably either equivalent to or better than the E.H. Taylor barrel proof stuff. I just do.
Yeah, it's probably fair.
And that's really hard to find.
E.H. Taylor barrel proof is also quite good.
And I think MSRP on that's like $1.50 now.
Really?
I think. I could be wrong, but I haven't seen one in forever.
Why don't you give some tasting notes on this?
So typical Stagg Juniors, typical Staggs get a lot of that, like that dark red fruit, right? Even on the nose when I first smelled it.
That's what's always stood out to me. Whereas like Taylor seems a bit softer. It seems a bit more mellow on the flavor profile. Leans more into the confectionery sugar, whereas this leans more into the fruit.
Yeah, a lot more almost like a black cherry.
Yeah, black cherry fruit cocktail. I'm sure you're thinking.
Yeah, in syrup though.
Yeah,
it's very viscous, which is weird saying that and you're just smelling it, but
no, I know what you mean. It smells
oily.
Yeah, it smells oily. It smells like you cracked open a jar of cherries and are smelling the syrup that the cherries were sitting in.
Yeah, with some dark, a little like grating of like dark chocolate. Vanilla, obviously, burnt
I hope so.
Burnt caramel. It's a little bit of barrel char.
Just a bit.
But overall, it's delightful.
Shock forward.
Yeah.
Stagg Jr. is good. So people say it's fallen off, as in like the batches weren't as.
Yeah, some people that I'll pay attention to on occasion. Said some of the, let's go 23, 24, that those years, they just weren't as good. Which, to be fair, it could be a whole mess of things. It could be a
number of things. Could be the weather.
It could be the barrels just weren't as good. It could be they were siphoning off those barrels for George T. Stagg. Now, Benchmark, which is a Buffalo Trace product, they make a full proof, which proof-wise is very similar to these. So, and I do think, if I remember reading right, a few years back, at least a year and a half ago, maybe two, Buffalo Trace made a decision to make, because Stagg Jr. was always very red fruit and cherry, always very forward, and the George T. Staggs weren't that. So if I remember right, internally they made a decision to start making the Stagg Juniors a little more like the George T. Staggs, where it's maybe a little more barrel influence, a little less red fruit, perhaps.
So they're probably using some older barrels.
Maybe, and so a lot of the barrels that maybe had that cherry note in the beginning, on the front of the palate, maybe they were using those for benchmark foolproof, and that could have been it too.
Because benchmark foolproof is very cherry forward.
Yeah, 125 proof.
125 proof.
So which kind of sits, I don't have my glasses, but kind of sits where this is 131.
This one's 128.
This is 125.6. So you can see how maybe they, siphoned some of those barrels because they had a good idea. Like, if we're going to make Stagg and we're going to have Stagg Jr., let's make the little brother taste a little bit more like the big boy. And
then make benchmark stand out.
Yeah, and then that stood out. But I don't know, on this one, I think they're putting more of those barrels that have the red fruit in it.
And that's at least what it tastes like to me. This is how you've given me some samples of the Stagg Jr. before. This is how I remember Stagg Jr. Dark cherry.
Yeah, dark and rich, super oily, barrel char. Boy, that smells good. So anyway, sorry, this video sucks. Stagg Jr. is always awesome. The problem is, finding it at retail, because this is one that the mom and pops, when they get this, they love
to jack up the price.
They love. I mean, that's easy money to them, because they assume that if somebody comes in and buys this at retail, they assume they're going to go home, put it on their Facebook or Instagram pages. Say, hey, I got a Stagg Jr. Who wants it? $500. And back in the day when there was the whole FOMO, the fear of missing out and all that, where people would actually be like, I gotta have one. Because some jack off in a fucking t-shirt and a hat told me that it was the best thing ever. Right? So and I still see on the socials, you'll run into, we call them museums.
Museums?
Yeah, where you go into a liquor store and it's like a museum because they got all sorts of awesome bottles.
But they charge you.
And then you look at the price and you're like, you want $1,200 for a 7-year-old Old Fitz? Like, come on. Like it's so you'll see them. I mean, I think personally, if you see a Stagg Jr. for under $100, it's a buy every time.
Yeah, if you can get it at retail, buy it for the sake of buying it. It's almost like if you see E.H. Taylor or any other Buffalo Trace offering at retail.
Yeah, it's kind of like if you go and you see like an Eagle Rare 10 sitting on the shelf for $45.
And you don't have it, you're like...
Even if I did, I'd buy a backup bottle.
Yeah, just because it's great. Buffalo Trace is excellent.
There's a reason why they're Buffalo Trace.
They do not miss.
No. They said other than like the benchmark number 8 line, which is just bottom.
It comes in a plastic
bottom. Yeah. Other than that, I mean, Buffalo Trace is probably one of those that can't really say a whole lot bad about them. They just now, to be fair, could they pump out more of this and make bigger releases? Sure, but like
they're Buffalo Trace.
We've talked about what's the artificial
scarcity.
Yeah. So
usually seen in the electronics market, very much seen in the whiskey market as well.
Yeah.
I wish, just because I'm curious what it tastes like, I wish that Buffalo Trace's rarer offerings were easier to come by.
Well, they used to be.
They used to be. A long time ago.
They used to be. That's the problem.
And they probably will be again, but it'll take time. Maybe they won't. Maybe they will.
I don't know. That's a tough one, man. It's sort of like like when the genie's out of the bottle.
Sure.
It's really hard to put it back in, and they've had record profits. They've taken a brand from where Eagle Rare sat on the shelves at $45 for a 10-year. Buffalo Trace was everywhere. Pappy Van Winkle's, I still see pictures of the Van Winkle line and George T. Stagg and WLW sitting in Total Wine. Because, Total Wine, their cases are like, you're seeing a picture from Total Wine and from their tags. you know, people will put like, this was 10 years ago, you know, and you see it for $130. You're like, why wasn't I into this shit? You know, but I don't know. I mean, we got lucky. We got a pour of William Leroy Weller.
That was,
remember that?
Excellent.
Yeah, that was cool. So you might be able to get to find that stuff in
at a particularly swanky bar and cigar lounge.
Yeah, you know, or just, you know, a fancy restaurant that maybe has that. You're going to pay
pretty
good money for it, but you're going to have better luck stumbling across
the diffusion lines like Stagg Jr. or, like we mentioned late last year, E.H. Taylor small batch. That's easier to find.
Yeah, especially now.
Yeah.
I just saw it last week when I was out. They had cases of it.
Oh, they did?
At the local Spokes.
At the Spooky Tea Spooks?
Yeah.
Oh, great.
Cases of it.
That's a good thing.
It's a small batch.
I was meaning to buy another backup bottle before I drink all of mine.
It's easy to do. I mean, Buffalo Trace is Buffalo Trace. They're freaking good. So, but I guess going back to why I wanted to do this, don't necessarily listen to the talking heads and be like, whoa, you know, somebody offers you a Stagg or a Stagg Jr., right? Just go ahead and buy it.
Yeah.
Because it's still freaking awesome.
Also, that's, as far as whiskey etiquette, we still need to do a video on, like, whiskey store etiquette or bottle shop etiquette more generally. However, if someone at the liquor store offers you a bottle from the back, you should probably take them up on the offer, as long as it's reasonable.
Yeah, as long as you're not missing your mortgage payment.
Exactly.
Or your car payment.
It is just liquid.
Yeah, but anyway, like I said, unless people start, you know, sending us media samples and shit, like we'll never know. And that's how a lot of these guys get these, you know, they get media samples from the distilleries and things like that. And that's cool, but we're real life.
We hope to communicate like this collection, though it is ridiculous, is very manageable.
It's real life though.
Yeah.
I found every one of these bottles.
Not a single one of the bottles on these shelves have been obtained via secondary. These are all retail.
Yep, and nobody's given me, well, I've had a couple people give me bottles, but they're just friends.
Yeah, family.
And no distilleries ever sent me anything. So now that's kind of why talking about this stuff and getting it all out in the wild, because like I said, if you're just watching Whiskey Tube stuff and you see the whiskey guys with all the latest and greatest and newest shit, it's like, well, yeah, but that's how the whole FOMO thing gets created. And I get it, because I try to do it too, right? I try to find, you know, new bottles for us that we just happen to find out here. Mm-hmm. And I'm always bugging him, like, dude, let's review this now, you know, and get it out, because, you know, people like that. You know, it's always what's new. But things like this, it was something, like I said, these bottles we got years ago. This bottle we got a couple of months ago. Mm-hmm. So I said, we're not going to drink those because they still say Stagg Jr. on them, and these don't. But is it really good? Yeah. No shit, it's really good. Just, you know, if you're lucky enough to find one, you know, in that hopefully $60 to $100 range, then you don't mind spending it.
Don't let yourself get hustled is the point.
Yeah, because you can see these for, depending on the store and depending on the market, for hundreds and hundreds of dollars. And they're legit. They're $60 a bottle MSRP. Now, I don't know what they are, like Virginia or like these ABC stores or whatever, where the state sets the price.
What's an ABC store?
Oh, so I guess you don't remember because you were little, but like in Virginia and like Alabama and like a bunch of other states, the state sets, Michigan might be one too, the actual state liquor department sets the price on shit.
Really?
Yep. And in theory, like most government ideas, in theory, it made sense, right? Because what they wanted to do was keep liquor stores from gouging up pricing and underselling, right? So the state comes in, they're like, no, you guys are all retards. We're going to tell you what you're going to charge. But they still overcharge. So the state will come in and be like, oh, we got, 100 cases. of Stagg for our state.
Yeah.
So, price $300 a bottle. Just send it out to the liquor stores because the state owns the liquor stores.
That's really interesting.
Yeah. So at least in a free market, in a free state like the state of Texas, you can find these. Not very often, but you can find them occasionally. 60-ish bucks. So,
and if you can't find them at 60, buy it every time. Don't miss your mortgage for
like
it.
I said, if it's $100 or less, because you have to be realistic.
Sure.
You know, would you spend $120 on it?
No. Unless you really want it. Unless you
If I
really
never
like
had it, and I don't own a bottle,
you want to put it on the shelf.
You want to taste it and then put it on the shelf and show it off.
That might be worth it.
I get maybe a 120 once, you know, but
Once.
yeah. Anyway, this stuff's awesome. Hopefully that helped a little bit because people really can get in the weeds with different batches. Yeah, most of us in the real world, like I said, we don't have 15 bottles
Of Stagg Jr.
Stagg Jr. to do a 15 blind.
In
Right.
our experience, all Stagg Jr. is quite good.
It's all good. If you see it, buy it. Just don't go crazy with it.